I tallied up the votes, and this is the theory you guys chose. Make sure to vote for next theory by clicking the link at the top of the screen. What's up, my net soldiers? I am the Net Alliance, and today we're asked the question, what if Mace Windu turned to the dark side? As with all my theories, this is just my opinion, so let me know your opinions in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this theory and you would like to see more, click the link at the top of the screen to check out all the rest of my theories in my theory playlist. But without further ado, let's begin. So for the scenario, I found it kind of hard to select a point where Mace Windu would actually turn to the dark side. So I do ask you to kind of suspend your disbelief, just a little bit, just a little tiny bit. So we're in the Chancellor's quarters in Revenge of the Sith. Windu is the sole remaining Jedi of the four who went to arrest Chancellor Palpatine. The fight goes much like it does in the film, with Mace having to use his Vapad form to defeat Palpatine. Now real quick, for those of you who do not know, Vapad, or some people call it Vapod, and others call it Vapod, was known as the seventh form of lightsaber dueling. A very powerful lightsaber form that, if attempted by an untrained user, could cause them to fall to the dark side. The dark side corrupted this lightsaber style so much that even a Jedi Master could actually fall victim to its temptation. But Mace Windu had actually mastered this style of fighting, and with it, he defeated the Dark Lord. Windu kicked Palpatine to the ground and stood over the Sith Lord as Anakin entered the room. The discussion went just like it did in the film, Windu and Palpatine going back and forth, with Anakin playing the part of jury. After a while, Windu heard enough and prepped to slay the Chancellor. Now from here, we know Anakin betrays Mace, and then Palpatine shocks him and throws him out the window, ultimately resulting in the Jedi Master's death. But what if Mace Windu didn't die? What if he managed to survive the encounter, but it came at a hefty toll? Windu went to strike the Sith Lord, but then sensed something. It was coming from Anakin. It was a betrayal. Skywalker ignited his blade and swung it at Windu, but Mace managed to block the slash. "I can't let you kill him!" Anakin declared, the rage billowing within him. Mace looked at Anakin with somewhat of a confused face.
"Anakin, what are you doing? Stop this."
As Mace finished his statement, Anakin kicked him out the window. As Mace Windu was maced out the window, see what I did there? He used the Force to pull Anakin and Palpatine out with him. All three men landed on the lower walkway, and Windu prepped for a fight. Windu's Vapad form was not meant to be used for long periods of time, for even though he had mastered the style, it was still a very dangerous form. Palpatine laid on the ground next to Anakin, pretending to be hurt, trying to continue with his sympathy card towards Anakin. And guess what? It worked. Anakin charged Windu and they began to battle along the walkway. As both combatants fought, Palpatine watched. He could feel both Windu's and Skywalker's anger building the longer they dueled. For so long, Palpatine had prepped Anakin to become his new apprentice. But now, as he watched, he rethought his plan. At this point, in Sidious's mind, Anakin and Windu weren't just fighting over the fate of the Chancellor. They were fighting to be Sidious's new apprentice. They were fighting for the title of Darth Vader. The fight continued for a while before Anakin finally got the upper hand. Skywalker brought his blade up, cutting off Windu's right arm. He then jumped over Mace and slashed the Jedi Master across the back, severing his lower spinal cord. Windu collapsed to the ground as Anakin turned to face him. Mace tried to move his legs, but he could not, for Anakin's strike had made him paralyzed from the waist down. The Chosen One walked closer to the disabled Master. As Mace Windu laid there, waiting to meet his fate, his rage began to take over. He wasn't going to die, not like this. He could feel the dark side creeping into his soul. He knew it wasn't right, but he has been given no choice. Slowly, his anger consumed him as he looked towards Anakin. His eyes glowing bright yellow like the sun. He raised his remaining hand, grabbing Anakin by the throat with the Force. Skywalker grabbed his throat as Palpatine looked on with delight. Moments later, Windu closed his hand into a tight fist, crushing Skywalker's windpipe. Anakin stumbled backwards, gasping for air, but there was nothing he could do. In his hysterity, Anakin fell to his side, which caused him to step off the walkway, falling to his death. Windu began to grow lightheaded as Palpatine slowly crept towards him. He blacked out and slipped unconscious as he heard Palpatine say, "You've done well, my apprentice." Later, Windu awoke in a military hospital as he was greeted by Palpatine. Mace prepared for a fight, but the Dark Lord told him to calm himself. He informed the Jedi Master that he had been given a cybernetic hand, as well as exoskeleton legs. He then told Mace that he had sent his Sith acolytes to the Jedi Temple to destroy the Jedi.
"I'll kill you,"
Windu threatened. Palpatine smiled.
"Save your anger for my acolytes. You're going to need it."
Sidious went on to explain that the Republic had prepared a clone strike force to kill the acolytes. The Dark Lord placed Windu's blade on a nearby table, then headed for the door.
If you hurry, you may be able to stop them.
Shortly after Sidious left, Mace's restraints became undone. He stood to his feet, taking a minute to adapt to his exo legs, then headed out the door, grabbing his lightsaber on the way. On his way to meet the clone army, he became acquainted with his new arm. Soon after, he met with the 501st Clone Battalion commander. Something seemed off to Windu, but there was no time. The Sith acolytes needed to be stopped now. Mace led his troops into the temple. Upon entering, he found dozens and dozens of Sith looking at him. Their faces seemed to be white masks, and they were dressed with black robes. Windu looked around, but he saw no Jedi. From this, he assumed that they were already killed, and because of that, every single Sith must die. Mace gave the order, and thus began the slaughter of the Sith. The Sith ranged in skill and size. Some were as tall as him, others stood to his waist. But he didn't care who or how old they were. All he knew was that they must die. Every room he entered, he found no trace of a Jedi. It was as if they all just disappeared. Yet he found the entire Jedi temple crawling with these Sith acolytes. Some tried to fight him with their red lightsabers, but others tried to run from him, which he noted was quite strange behavior for a Sith. After some time, the temple was finally cleansed of the Sith plague. But Mace Windu was adamant about finding his fellow Jedi. He continued his search for any sign of life. After spending the whole night searching, he came face to face with another acolyte. The acolyte looked at him and began to make growling noises. But the growls weren't anger towards him. They seemed somewhat non-threatening. However, Mace wasn't surprised. He had heard a few of these creatures speaking in their evil tongue, but they still fell to his blade all the same. Windu pounced out the acolyte, but the creature defended himself with his own red lightsaber. They continued to battle, the Sith remaining on defense, as if it wasn't trying to kill Mace. Soon the Jedi Master kicked the monster down, and prepped to kill him with his blade. The creature continued to growl in sadness. It was trying to communicate with Mace, but Windu would have none of it. He pulled his blade back, preparing to silence the beast forever. However, before he could, he felt a small hand upon his head. A massive shockwave of light pulsed through his entire body as he fell to his knees. Windu looked ahead of him to see a small Sith standing in front of the Sith that he just defeated. Slowly, the white masks and black robes seemed to evaporate off the beings. Mace gazed towards the defeated Sith as it rose to its feet, its red lightsabers slowly turning blue. The Sith disguises slowly morphed away as he heard a familiar voice.
Corrupted by the dark side, Windu is.
It was then the Sith completely disappeared, and in their place was Yoda and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan deactivated his blue lightsaber and placed it on his belt. It took a few seconds for Windu to grasp the entire situation. He looked around the room. Seconds ago, the halls were littered with Sith acolytes, but now, they were covered by corpses of Jedi. It was then it finally hit Windu. Palpatine used Mace's anger to corrupt his mind, all the way to the point of having Mace slaughter his fellow Jedi in cold blood. He realized the growls the creatures made were cries for terror. The small Sith acolytes were younglings. By trying to save the Jedi Order, Mace Windu has effectively destroyed it. And it was only when Yoda cleansed Windu's mind of the Dark Plague did he finally see the truth of what he's done. Now, this is where I choose to end this theory because I want to hear what you guys think would happen next. Do you think Windu would actually be able to live with himself after this? Or would he, Obi-Wan, and Yoda go get vengeance on Sidious? Or maybe they'd all just go to a bar and get a beer or something. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe if you guys enjoy my videos, and until next time, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.